Hi, everyone. We're going to talk about linking instruction and assessment. Why should assessments, learning objectives, and instructional strategies be aligned? Assessments should reveal how well students have learned what we want them to learn, while instruction ensures that they learn it. For this to occur, assessments, learning objectives, and instructional strategies need to be closely aligned so that they reinforce one another. To ensure that these three components of your teaching are aligned, ask yourself the following questions. What do I want students to know how to do after my instruction? What kinds of tasks will reveal whether students have achieved the learning objectives I have identified? What kinds of activities in and out of class will reinforce my learning objectives and prepare students for assessments? Appropriate child assessment is a component of high-quality reading programs. Appropriate child assessment linked to well-planned and implemented curriculum is a critical component of any high-quality early education program. Effective assessment can help in the early identification of children with developmental delays, other disabilities, and unique needs. It can inform teaching and contribute to better outcomes for children of all economic, cultural, language, or disability statuses. Authentic curriculum embedded assessments, which occur within typical classroom activities, have several advantages. Teachers' instructional practices can be improved. Opportunities for individualized instruction can be increased, and standards can be met through curriculum assessment links. Assessments are a daily part of classroom life. Teachers assess students' learning for these purposes: determining reading levels, monitoring progress, diagnosing strengths and weaknesses, and documenting learning. Teachers often choose authentic measures of students' knowledge because they are more useful than formal tests. Informal assessment tools show whether students have learned the strategies being taught as well as the depth of their knowledge. So there's a 4-step assessment cycle: planning, monitoring, evaluating, and reflecting. In planning, teachers use their knowledge about students' reading levels, their background knowledge, and their strategy and skill competencies to plan appropriate instruction that's neither too easy nor too difficult. In step 2, monitoring, teachers monitor instruction that in progress as they observe students, conference with them, and check their work to ensure that their instruction is effective. Evaluating is when teachers evaluate students' learning using rubrics and checklists to assess students' reading and writing projects and success. In reflection, teachers judge the effectiveness of their instruction by analyzing students' reading and writing projects. So you can see how assessment, yes, it does monitor children's learning, but it also monitors the effectiveness of your instruction. Classroom assessment tools can be informal or formal. Informal assessment tools are observation, running records, examining students' work, conferencing with students about their progress, completing checklists, and using rubrics for assessments. Standardized test is a formal assessment tool. It begins in 2nd grade. Its usefulness of data is limited. It examines effectiveness of teachers' instruction. So, several instructional strategies that are found super reliable are read alouds or shared reading. It's one of the most effective ways for children to hear fluent reading. It advises that teachers read to their students every day in every class for at least 5 minutes. KWL charts are a great way to hook students into learning. These language charts start with the question, what do you know, K for know, about the topic? Then after a discussion about the topic, students are asked, what do you still want to know? So that's the W, what do you want to know? And then after the unit of study has been completed, the language chart is used again, and students answer this third question of what did you learn? So the L is for learn about the topic. Vocabulary instruction is what it is, and it should be done right in authentic languages and conversation versus worksheets. Graphic organizers provide students with visual information that complements the class discussion or the text that you're reading. Writing to learn is that the idea that reading, writing, and content learning are relators. You can use writing to learn strategies at the beginning, middle, or end of class to help students inquire, clarify, or reflect on the content they have read. Students they think for 5 minutes or so, then they write for about 5 minutes, and then some teachers begin class with this strategy to help students focus on the topic. Reciprocal teaching is a strategy that might be most difficult for some teachers, but how you use it is that students they take the role of the teacher. It allows students to become the instructors of the content that they are studying. They might work in groups of 4. Students read a text passage together, and they predict, they question, they clarify, and summarize what they have read. The student-directed discussion groups can then monitor their own comprehension and reinforce their understanding. So Common Core state standards are knowledge students are expected to learn at each grade. The goal is ensuring all students graduate from high school. Right? Another goal is that students are able to succeed in college or the workforce. It's a framework for improving teaching and learning. So it shouldn't be seen as a standard that is going to bring you strife as a teacher, but it should be a framework that helps you guide student learning and plan your teaching. So it provides clear and consistent academic benchmarks. And at each grade level, students are required to read and write more complex texts. So the standards, the Common Core standard also help you understand if you're teaching second grade, right? At a second grade level, students are required to read and write a certain level of a text, and your second grader may not be at that level. And so you understand what type of support you need to provide to get that student up to the second grade level. So the idea is that all students are being taught so that they can be at a certain grade level as they move on to each grade level. Hope that makes sense. Kind of wonky so anyway, so the Common Core state standards are 5 different strands. The first is a reading strand. It consists of 3 sections: foundational skills, literature, and informational text. Young students develop foundational skills, print concepts, phonological awareness, phonics, word recognition, and fluency. The writing strand consists of 4 sections: text types and purposes, production and distribution of writing, research to build and present knowledge, and range of writing. Students in the primary grades learn to use the writing process to compose texts representing a variety of genres, including narratives and informative text. The third strand is a speaking and listening strand. It consists of two sections, comprehension and collaboration, and presentation of knowledge and ideas. Young students gain mastery of oral language skills. They refine their ability to use speaking and listening informally in discussions and more formally in oral presentation. The fourth strand is a language strand. It consists of three sections, conventions of standard English, knowledge of language, and vocabulary acquisition and use. Students learn to apply vocabulary, grammar, and standard English conventions to increase sophisticated oral and written presentation. The fifth strand is media and technology strand. This integrates the critical analysis of media and the creation of multimedia projects within the other four strands. Standards clearly specify what students should accomplish at each grade level. These Common Core standards are addressed in each chapter of our course text. So classroom assessments do more than just measure learning. What we assess, how we assess, and how we communicate the results send a clear message to students about what is worth learning, how it should be learned, and how well we expect them to perform. Thanks, and see you online.